Oh, fuck. Ah, that'll do. Hey YouTube, Mega336 bringing you a new quick video. Remind you of some of the old Let's Plays I was doing that I have completely discontinued. Well, here's one of them. It's coming back. I'm going to be bringing you a quick Let's Play of Crash Team Racing, and also the sequel, Crash Tag Team Racing, hopefully on the PS2 emulator, if I can get that to work nicely. It's not necessarily the easiest of freaking emulators to get working. Not every game plays well on my computer, but then again, I have a little bit more limitations as far as computing power goes, so that makes some sense. But there's two other games I wanted to actually do an LP of. They're pretty old games that probably people would not have even noticed on Steam, and they are... Gotta remember the names, because I forgot the cunts. Oh yes, we're gonna do a quick Let's Play of the free game Trove. That's pretty popular and everyone knows about it. I can understand why, because it stands out so much, because it's like the best, in my personal opinion, the best fusion between Minecraft and what else? What other game is it a good fusion of? Yeah, Minecraft and Cube World. Cube World was kind of off the map, and I wouldn't blame you if you completely forgot it even existed. Because it takes, you know, a person to enjoy that sort of game to always be on the lookout. Because I remember focusing on, freaking, when it was in beta test for Cube World, and I really wanted to get into it, but I didn't have a computer that could handle it. So, you know, I kind of sent that on the backbench. But now that we have Trove, an MMO version of that kind of game, I'm kind of psyched. I want to give that a good run. On top of that, this is coming back. We're doing Block Story as well.
The more Wumpa fruit you collect,
how do I get you to shut up? I'm talking. There we go. There you go. So, between all that, we're going to be bringing a couple of random streams from old retro games. For a couple examples, we're going to try and speedrun the Abe's Oddworld series, the Exodus, the 2DS game, and on top of that, we're going to do Jade Cocoon. A couple cool games from way back when. We're going to go and freaking speedrun that shit, and we'll hope that all turns out pretty fucking nicely. On top of that, in future plans, I plan to be saving up some money to get myself into a better apartment. I mean, this place is really good, but it's nowhere near permanent, so with that in mind, I've decided to look into smaller units that I could move myself into in about a year's time or so. And between all that, I'm trying to give up smoking for a bit, because I may only spend $25 a fortnight, but that's $50 a month. Now, I want to go and get myself a 3DS that can actually do capture recording, so that's going to be pretty fun, because then I can go do a whole new Monster Hunter series. I've kind of got the basis. I'm only going to go as far as Tetsukabra with my new 5 that I'm trying out, because I wasn't too sure about what weapon masteries I was good at, because it's changed so much from Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. I tried going back to playing Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, just to mention, and the only weapon I was actually good with was the dual blades. So, yeah. As a recommendation, if you're picking up the game Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, sorry, not Freedom Unite, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, or 3 Ultimate for that matter, I'd recommend going straight for the dual blades, because the dual blades you can get double the hits. Sure, your sharpness takes quite a hit, but really, it's kind of worth it when you can get into the whole demon mode in Final Fantasy. No, this isn't fucking Final Fantasy. Fucking up with all my names today. To do with Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, when you actually go use Demon Mode with the dual blades, and then you actually go and max out the freaking charge gauge looking thing, you actually get a glowing freaking aura that's purple, which increases your attack speed and your attacks a little bit. So when you come to think of it, that's really damn good for a buff, and against large, slow enemies, you're gonna have a fucking excellent time. And simply because of all those chain attacks, it'll make getting Gore Magala feelers as an example, which you're going to need for later on for upgrades, and probably maybe even getting the plate, which it's rare to get. Which I kind of use the plate for freaking dual blades and hammers. I used to be really good at using hammers.
On your head. Start hopping immediately.
Come on, shut up, Uka Uka. I know, now you made me completely lose track of what I was talking about. Oh yeah, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Some weapon types that are recommended. If you go for that, start off with the Insect Glaive. I mean, if you're not too good at using it, by all means, come back to it. Because it is an easy weapon to master once you get used to it. Another weapon that's probably not so easy, but pretty good, is got to be the Charge Blade. It may be a bit stronger than your regular sword and shield, but the biggest plus to it, the biggest really big plus to it that you actually have, is the fact that you can charge up an element and then go for super powered attacks. Which is one thing I do like about that. It charges up that, because it's like freaking having a heavy version of a sword and shield. So if you've played Lord of Arcana, a good example to compare this to is using the greatsword and the shield together. There's a bit of an example you can probably use to compare the two. Because you end up being slow and clunky, and precise, powerful attacks are what you really need to do to really make that weapon class work well and effective. And because of that, you don't get a lot of speed with it, but you do have some fucking amazingly powerful explosion charge attacks. So, depending on the elemental weapon you have, you can do some serious damage. The one I'm using is Dear Lutemia, I believe. If it's not Dear Lutemia, it's Lutemis. I'm not sure which one it is, because there's an upgrade to the specificated weapon I just mentioned. So, which takes a while to get, which I recommend always having up to 3 types of weapons that you can master. So I'd recommend trying them all, but majority of the time, new players are not going to be good at gunning. And it takes a certain type of player to be good at gunning, so my best recommendation is to go with a Blade Master set. You may be limited to really having a certain armor set, but that's a really important key of this game. Maxing out an armor set. A lot of people would have used the Tetsukabra set because it comes with an extra defense bonus. I recommend if you're early starting, go and farm for that armor. Because to this day on my main file up to Shigaru Magala, I haven't needed to change my armor set. And my armor set is the whole Tetsukabra armor apart from Celtus Folds. So that's the only other one I'm running, the only different one from the set. And you have a defense bonus set increase, so it's probably better off to max that out. Since I already sold the Tetsukabra Folds, I'm not going to get the set bonus no more. Honestly, when you get to the late game, my biggest recommendation with the armor sets is to try and create an armor set that balances to 0 of all your elemental resistance while having a high defense caliber. Because majority of monsters do attack with elemental, and the best elementals that actually get in your weapon are Dragon and Blast, because they don't actually have any negative effects on, for example, when you're going against an ice and you're using fire, or water against fire. You get the idea. I believe it's water's good against fire, fire's good against ice, ice is good against water, I believe. Some sort of bullshit like that. I'm not too sure about the elemental trios in that, because it's a bit different from Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, and I've always been ignoring it. But my biggest weaknesses on that game is fire and electricity. So using the Tetsukabra set, you're going to be weak to thunder and fire, and in the later games, my god, there is so much of that stuff. There is a ridiculous amount of fire and electricity. So one thing with that is you might want to hunt a combination of Rathalos and Xenoga armor, but it's hard to get something that's electric resistant. But my guess of what you do for that is to go and fight Zaku, or Kezu. I don't know how you pronounce it. I've always pronounced it Zaku, because I always thought that way of pronouncing the name was much fucking cooler. So I've stuck with it, calling it that for quite some time. And because I've been sticking with calling it Zaku, Yeah, it's that freaking no eyes electric wyvern that pretty much senses by hearing. And it's one of the early bosses that you do fight in Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, so a lot of returning players will actually be very familiar with it. But yeah, that's my recommendation to try and hunt Zinogre, so that way, because he only uses electricity and physical attacks. And that's a pretty good armor because it is really good on physical defense. I mean, it's not really good, but it's close to Gravio's, just minus a fair bit. And because it's just minus, I can excuse it from being kind of shit. But yeah, for the elemental electric resistance, it'll actually kind of compensate, because a lot of their attacks are imbued with electricity, which allows you to go and freaking go in and be a bit more reckless on the attack and hunt it down before it escapes early on, which, being aggressive early on is not always a good idea, but certain weapon types, it makes it a great idea. Like, for my main example of that would have to be dual blades, because it's fast, you've got short range, you've got to get in close, so having a good all-round freaking elemental boost set is practically crucial. And because if you can get a high defense with +1 on each elemental defense as a blade master, you're doing well. Because then you won't have to change your armor set, you just have to keep boosting its defense. Because that's what I did. I boosted the max out of my freaking Tetsukabra to boost the most out of the defense bonus it gets. I believe it's a 5% or a 10% defense bonus. And as you max that out, you can basically become a full defensive tank, which I really do like that ability. But unfortunately, there's not also a talisman that actually boosts up your resistance stats. So, you know, they can boost your overall resistance to the status effect when you get to that point when you're going close to fighting Shigaru Magala. Yeah, but that's kind of the only buff you get, reducing the freaking status infliction. You can't reduce your total, you know, bonus. Okay, I think that's probably all I need to give for an update at the moment. So, I'm going to take myself to the save and call this video adjourned, because I've now informed you about the streams, I've informed you about the Let's Plays that I plan on doing, kind of mentioned about the equipment that I want to be getting my hands on. Over time I may be getting a PS4 too, so if I can get a capture something for that, well then we've just expanded what we can do. But that's the main plan. I will be expanding more into the 3DS, and I will be expanding hopefully more into other old retro games and, you know, very sandboxy type of games, like Fortress Craft maybe next when I get a better grasp of the game. At the moment, I'm watching Direwolf 20 do a playthrough of it. I'm on episode 2 at the moment, because it's just like, it looks really boring to watch, and I'm curious as to how it will play. I mean, I can agree with that. Like, I get bored of watching Minecraft like way too easy, and I think it'd be the same thing with Trove and Block Story. But I'm playing those games, playing Block Story, Block Story blind. I have done a couple runs, but I still have no fucking clue what I'm really supposed to do with it. So because of that, I'm pretty much blind on that aspect. I do like the fact that I am playing blind, because it really gives me more discoverability, more reason to build a lot of safe houses across the world. It also comes down to them being a lot of NPCs that are different.
You must have 2 boss keys to open this door.
Shut up, Uka, you interrupted me again, fuck you. Anyways, as far as the little freaking quests that you do, it unlocks stuff. For each world, you can't just go and freaking, as long as you have the required items, you can do this. You gotta find a certain NPC and do a certain requirement first. So progression can be extremely dangerous when the wildlife creatures can be more overpowered than you. I spend majority of my time walking around with a stone sword and a bow, and I still got freaking wrecked. Oh, stone sword and a bow, well of course you're gonna get wrecked. Well, that's in the area that I was in before. I didn't have that problem, so as you progress, so do the majority of the monsters. So it's always a constant challenge. I don't know what happens if you die, because I've always managed to escape, and I'm feeling pretty happy about being able to dodge that. And keep going in my previous world, but I'll be making a new one just to give us a go. And I think if there's a seed option, it's going to be called Tripper Snipper in freaking reference to one of the most funny Aussie shows. And you, of course, should know what it is. The Big Les Show. Now, that'll be Omega 1306 signing out for this video. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side when I next upload. Anyways, as far as the times of when you want me to stream, by all means, I want to get at least 10% of my viewers watching the stream. So if you could actually check out on these little videos every now and again, I will. If I get at least 5 people to actually watch the video for when I'm about to go live streaming, I know exactly that my streaming is actually going to be watched. The reason why I want that is because I don't know if I can record and save the stream or the speedrun onto YouTube. So it all comes down to whether you want me to do the speedrun on Twitch and do it live where I can actually listen to your commentary and actually, you know, have some shit to say. By all means, jump onto my Skype too at... fuck, what was it called? Let me just go quickly check that shit. Just type up Travis Booth in freaking your Skype search or Trapster15. Should pop up. That's what I'd recommend you should actually do if you want to go and, you know, have some conversation amidst the streams. Definitely, because I always have my Skype up because I have me bros, me mates, quite constantly ring me up on that stuff. So, you know, there'll be a whole lot of guest people, so by all means, I'd love to have you to join in. So at least then I don't have to constantly read the fucking comments since I'm expecting to have such a small viewer base. I mean, hell, how much fucking, you know, views can I get from an Abe game freaking speedrun, Abe's Oddworld and Abe's Exodus part 1 and 2, which I'm not going to put them together. I'm going to actually have them as separate. So the time for the speedrun is on disc 1, and then there's the disc 2, because it's like a completely different game when you get to FICO. So I'll say that much. I'm not going to do that with probably the other games. It should only take me about a day to do the stream. So when I mean a day, I mean roughly around about 12 hours to do the grinding as well. So yeah, Let's Plays in short that are coming up. Block Story, Trove, this game to finish it off, and speedruns that are becoming Jade Cocoon and the original Abe's Oddworld series. Now I think that kind of sums it up as part as planning on getting my recording software, the recording capture, the capture software required for the PS4 plus the hardware. Same thing with the 3DS when I buy my new 3DS XL. I fucking hate having to say that. Why can't Nintendo come up with good names? Anyways, with that kept in mind, Omega 1306 sign off. Hope to see you at my streams. Hope to see you commenting. A viewer interaction is what keeps my channel going. Viewer the guys are the reason that makes me want to actually keep going. I mean, when I'm uploading like little videos and shit like that, but with streams, I actually want at least 5 people to be watching. So, come around and we'll work that out in this week if we can. By all means, jump straight the fuck in. You've got my Skype details and all that. I would point you to my fucking Facebook media, where shit actually goes down. You can check that up. But I know majority of you won't check that up, and majority of my viewers don't even comment. It kinda sucks. But it is what it is, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Thanks for watching this ridiculous recording for as long as it's gone. It's nearly on for 20 minutes just filling you in. Sorry about that. Omega 36 signing off.